You're talking about all this insanity. That's hatred. That's hatred. How did hatred go from physical things that damage people, remove their livelihood, destroy their families, etc., to now, oh, it's just a feeling that you have because of a word I used? That's hate because I said something you don't like? No, you sensitive as hell. Seriously.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Daily Wrap Up Crew. No Booker, but I go by the name of Eli. As always, we got Ace with us.
Yes, indeed. It's the Daily Rapper Crew back with another one that you can't miss. And my name is Biden because you ain't black if you ain't watching this. You heard?
Okay. Last but not least, we got
I don't even know if I fuck with him after that. You know, I ain't fuck with Biden when he said it. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. What it do? I'm here with my crew, and we got brother Rizza Islam. In the streets, he's talking, and he ain't have to do time. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
respect to a real man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. Like Juice said, man, we got a special guest in the building. We got the good brother, Rizza Islam. My fault, Rizza case dismissed.
Come on with it.
Like, you know what
Let's get some hand claps.
Folks,
You know what I mean?
real quick, that's been sleep under a rock. Who you are specifically, and you know the kind of things that you have done for the community and things.
Absolutely. Born and raised Compton, California. Been involved in community activism since roughly 10 years old. Youngest of 10 children. Pretty much everything that's in the world has been in my family, from gangbanging to drug use, drug abuse, drug addiction, doing time in prison, you name it. And thankfully, my family has been able to push through all of that. And outside of that, just a brother doing my best to help the people. Researcher, author, activist, best-selling book, independent, Black-owned, Black published, Black edited. I make sure we flex on that hard. Definitely. And I believe, again, there will be no solution when it comes to the circumstance of our people without our people being at the forefront of it. So we have to get involved and do these things. I'm also, of course, an FOI, member of the Nation of Islam. My leader, teacher, and guide is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I do not care about who has any issues with that whatsoever, including this government. So absolutely, ready to talk to my brothers.
How it should be. I do want to jump, before we get into this, you know what I mean? Like, y'all got to make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe.
Oh, they will.
Subscribe. I would tell y'all to join the membership, but y'all going to get this early. The members going to get this early. But still, when we get this public, make sure y'all join that membership, because we're going to try to do our best to get a lot more interviews with this and try to get more guests to have these conversations, because these are much needed conversations.
Yes,
So first topic I do want to get to, obviously we talked about the case. Can you break down that whole case? And I know you was going through that for like, what, 10 years now?
Roughly 10 years.
Okay, can you break that down as far as, you know, 'cause I know you had detractors out there that was, you know what I mean, throwing dirt on your name, and I know, you know, it feels good, you know, obviously to have that case dismissed. So can you speak on that real quick?
Absolutely. Well, the government accused your brother of what is called Medi-Cal fraud, which, again, I wasn't qualified for, wasn't involved in, wasn't doing at all. Real simple. I maintain my innocence for, as we have now seen, 10 years. So this was back in 2013. So I was working at a program where, you know, we're dealing with everything from drug education to literacy programs and all of that. As we know, our people have literacy problems, drug addiction problems, you name it, homeless problems. We have all the issues you can name on the list. So that's something that heavily affects us, especially in Compton, especially in Watts, Long Beach, just like it affects people here in Brooklyn, Queens, all the boroughs, you name it. We are dealing with the same issues from the Midwest, East Coast, and the West Coast. So that's what I was involved in as far as helping the people since I was roughly 9, 10 years old. So when they tried to toss that accusation on your brother, it was like saying Rizza Islam is 5'11", which you have some weird people on the internet who say that. Until
definitely ain't no
he
5.
He borderline about to go to that A, like,
you know. So I said, okay, this is very interesting, but again, a clean heart can't be hurt.
Right.
Real simple. If you're not guilty of something, I don't care who comes against you. The whole world could turn against you and say you're guilty of this. If you're not guilty of it, you're not guilty of it. So I stood on my innocence with that. And again, they have offered me, I think it was upwards of 6 or 7 plea deals, which you don't offer plea deals back to back to back unless you are unable to prove your accusation. And a lot of people have accepted plea deals because they didn't have money to represent them with the proper representation, the proper attorneys, proper lawyers, etc. Other people took it because they were scared into taking it. You know, you're gonna do this time. If you know, we're gonna get you on this. You know, we can add another thing. We can add 2 more years on. Add 5 years on. Some of y'all probably got family, friends.
Yeah,
You probably been
definitely.
through it yourself. You know how this goes. And so they do this because they have a quota to meet, because they make money based upon how many people they lock up and put insurance policies on them, and they make sure they have steady influx of clientele in the prison industrial complex.
That's something new I didn't know about, because I heard you speak about this before, but I didn't know that they put insurance on, you know, the inmates and stuff like that. That was news to me.
Yeah,
Like,
they
I'm not
have to.
surprised, like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
yeah, that was like,
They have to. The insurance goes on the building. The insurance goes on the entire system itself that they're utilizing, because if anything happens, you got to make sure you're covered.
Right.
You got to make sure you're covered, right? Whether if you are the warden of the prison, if you are the person who have to fund the building of it, if you are, you know, some of the contractors, et cetera, everybody has to have insurance. So they put insurance on the inmates because inmates do die in jail.
Right.
I believe there were 2 or 3 that just passed away from dehydration in Texas a couple of days ago because the governor banned water breaks.
Water breaks, yeah.
For prisoners, which is insane,
Right.
right? So, but they have to have insurance because stuff like that happens and they don't want to be held liable.
Where does that money go?
How much time y'all got? Okay, so you look at certain companies, for example, everything dealing with a prison is heavily invested in business. Everybody's hands are in it, from the phone companies, a lot of T-Mobile workers are prisoners, to a lot of the construction companies. A lot of the things being constructed are in prisons. Dell company, computer companies, a lot of them have prisoners working there as, you know, telemarketers or people working in customer service. A lot of these people you're talking to on the phone are in prison. These are prisoners. So these companies contract with them because it's cheap labor. You're talking about right now, you have brothers in jail making less than 10 cents an hour. Do you understand this? Prison slave labor right now in 2023.
I believe that.
So these companies are looking at major tax breaks. They're looking at, hell, we need as much money to come back into our pockets. So pay these people slave wages because, you know, these are criminals, right? They don't deserve to have any money. You know, we're giving them a service. We're giving them mercy by giving them anything at all. This is how these sick folks think, because you're dehumanized. When I went to jail, I was only in jail for 2 weeks. Dehumanizing conditions. I'm talking about to this day. You're talking about still stripping you naked, still having you bend over. Right now, I want y'all to understand how serious is it. This is why when people say slavery is over. Where? What are you talking about? No, it's not. You know, so all of these things, companies and businesses have investments in these prisons. Wall Street still has investments for their private corporate funders in prisons. Anybody who owns land, for example, the land that these prisons are on, the landowners, they are invested. They make money. All of these things trickle down. So when you're talking about attacking that type of system or exposing that type of system, you're exposing a layer of things, people, businesses, corporations, and entities. It's not just one person you attacking. You talking about hitting people in their pockets, and they ain't liking that.
Right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's a really, when you hear prison industrial complex, we hear that all the time. The prison is the system that people are locked down in. It's industrial because it is now on an automatic system where you can use those people as cattle, as slave labor to produce products for you. And it's a complex. So it's a complete and total system built and constructed to maintain a modern day slave system with cheap labor, again, to where businesses and entities make a large amount of money. And then the courts are involved in it. The police are involved in it.
Right.
The insurance companies are involved in it. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Right.
Y'all really like, you give it.
Yeah,
It's a serious thing that you have to look at. It's layered. And that is what a conspiracy is. Conspiracy means when 2 or more individuals, groups, or people come together to do something that is evil and or wicked.
Right.
With a plan, that's a conspiracy. Conspiracy theory is a what if, a possibility, a so, I'm not sure.
Right.
That's a theory. But a conspiracy is what the hell we've been victims of since we were born, for the most of us in this country. So to make sure I make that clear.
That's we already started off on some crazy shit. But, you know, again, I did want to start off with that because, you know, that was really important for you, the case dismissal. Obviously, the detractors is really trying to get on you and trying to, you know, lie on your name. So we're just glad that, you know, you got that situation rectified. Hopefully, you know, they ain't gonna try to come back, dig it back up. You never know. These governments is crazy.
Well, if they try, we'll go back in there like we did the first day of trial, which was June 26th. We walked in there. We were ready. We had probably about 50 pounds of paper prepared. Me and my Black attorney, who is the founder of his whole Black law firm, Jeremy McLamont of Acelia Law Firm. all of these attorneys from that firm shut everything down just to help your brother with this case. Because again, a clean heart can't get hurt. You can listen to lies all day long. People can talk and say whatever and accuse and speculate. They can do all that. But the truth will win in the end, sincerely. But you have to have that emotional stamina, that mental stamina, that spiritual stamina in order to move forward, regardless of what anybody has to say. So anybody still talking, or anybody who was talking, you got the egg on your face, and everybody sees it. The only people commenting are the 30,000 FBI accounts that are on social media who are used to to boost your content, or the fake accounts, or the few people who are exceedingly ignorant because of other people they listen to. But nobody, and I mean not one person, who has spoken ill of your brother, whether if you agree with me or not, I don't really, care. It's okay. We can disagree. But anyone who has spoken ill of me, spoken evil and wicked about my mother or my family, which is off limits, and I think we kind of lost that, right? Has seen me in person. And I mean that. See, one thing we have to get out of is this virtual realm, thinking that now you are off limits because you get to hide behind a damn computer screen. Black men have to get back to a point to where we respect ourselves deeply, to where we will not allow other people to disrespect us, our people, etc. So I encourage anyone who has anything to say to show up to any event in any city, in any state, or any country where I am. Pull up with the same energy. Ask your questions publicly. I'm not gonna put my hands on you, but if you try to run up, you won't get folded up. With love.
He did with love.
With love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Respectfully.
So why did it take so long though? Like 10 years is a long time. I'm not familiar with how the court cases go and stuff, but why did it take 10 years?
Well, one, I was supposed to be off the case within the first 2 years, according to my first attorney, Gary Brown, which he was the attorney who was helping Sophia Stewart, the sister who wrote The Matrix and Terminator and all of that.
Okay.
He was helping her with that case that she had against the Wachowski brothers, the two Jewish brothers who stole the whole idea from her about The Matrix and all of that, right? So he was my first attorney. He said, yeah, they were saying you're going to be taken off because there's nothing really on you there. The program was under investigation along with over 10 other programs that they were shutting down all across the state because you had programs that were getting people off of drugs, encouraging people to read and write, encouraging people to do better in life, which exists. Good people exist. Right. I don't understand why there's certain people who think every Black person who becomes famous is a sellout. Every Black man or woman who gets, some kind of fame or some views, whatever, sold their soul. No, that's not the case. And we have this sick belief that the white man is God. That this system is still God and there's nothing above it. Oh, no, we can't do nothing great without selling out. No, you have a sick, twisted way of thinking. You don't believe in yourself. You're very sick and you are still stuck in a slave mentality. Right. The reason why I'm saying that is because it took all those years because they looked at the fact that you have this brother, specifically, again, with my case, this young brother who they didn't have anything on, but because everybody was in, whoever was in the program, they just were investigating the whole program. So if you were an employee, okay, you're going to be a part of the investigation. So that's how it happened. Yeah. But when they started looking, it was like, why is he even in here? He was the educator. The same thing I'm doing right now is the same thing I was doing back then. Teaching, educating. See, you can only act so good for so long. All right, you can only pretend for so long. But they were like, he's not involved in the administrative paperwork stuff. That's not what I was involved in at all. And that's, again, case dismissed. They figured that out. But once they Googled me, this is where the crazy thing happened. It was roughly 2015. They Googled me. And I'm talking about, we were on the lower floor, no cameras were involved, no media. They Googled me, prosecutor contacted my attorney, and he said, oh, we see, he's kind of out there. Who is he really? Then, that's when they brought us up to the high-profile floor, 9th floor. You're talking about the same floor where Tory Lanez case is being handled. Same floor, same courthouse where Harvey Weinstein's case is being handled. Same floor, same courthouse where O.J. Simpson won his case, which was the actual courtroom next door to mine. My courtroom and the judge who prosecuted my case or handled my case is the same one who just tried and convicted the killer of Nipsey Hussle, to give you an idea of how high profile this floor is, because they found out who your brother was and they said, oh, he's actually doing a lot more in the community. So now we could bring in the media to spin this and paint it to make it look like something bigger. Right. So then that's when Channel 7 got brought in. That's when the LA Times got brought in. That's when all these bloggers and people, and I was like, who are these white folk coming in and sitting? I was like, who are these? I'm just looking around trying to figure out who are all these people? Yeah. And so they drug it out because they wanted to make it look like something bigger, and that's when they said, no, we're not taking them off the case. We're going to keep them on. And this was verified by the other attorneys who were on with the other people. There's over 20 people, on this case.
Right. Also, like to mute your voice, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's that's the biggest thing. You know what I mean? That we're trying to do.
2015, just to give you an idea, by the time they Googled me, it was 2015, 2016. I had already been involved in the community for years. I had already received an award from the mayor and city council of Compton. I had already received awards from, city council members in Los Angeles and the YMCA and all these different organizations for my community work. So I was already known in the community. This is before I had an IG.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all know I didn't get on Instagram until 2016. So they knew who I was because I was educating politicians about the shots. Like I mentioned to you earlier, and I know we're going to get into that, but all of these things I was doing that, again, takes money out of the system. They don't, you telling me you're going to educate people and tell them to get off of legal and illegal drugs? What? Okay, so now,
got you.
Okay, it's a business issue now. What do you mean you telling people to get off of this psychotropic drug that we produce in our pharmaceutical companies that we make billions of dollars on? What are you talking about? No, because I'm a big proponent for health. And my people can't get better if they're on these drugs. Slowly but surely, we have to come off of these step by step until we get into a more natural way of living. Again, I know it's a long answer to this, but the point is they target those who target their system. They don't like that. So it wasn't so cut and dry like, oh yeah, they had nothing. Right. You don't hold a person for 8 years or a case over their head for 8 to 10 years, and you tell me the case is dismissed because you didn't have enough evidence to find this person guilty.
Why was it dragging on for so long to begin with?
Really?
Right. Yeah.
That was my question. You're talking about going to court every 3 months for the last 8.5 years.
Right.
I've been to court over 32 times.
Hoping you fucked up. That's what
I do want to get into a topic you spoke about, the whole concept of this selling your soul topic. There's this one Kanye lyric that has always stuck with me, right? He says, I sold my soul to the devil. It was a crappy deal. At least it came with a few toys like a Happy Meal. And when I heard that in high school, it was a bar. When I heard it in high school, I was just thinking like, damn, that's a bar right there. But then obviously we see everything that Kanye is going through, and then you hear this concept of, selling your soul. Like how much validity from your understanding is there to that concept of this whole the Illuminati, you know what I mean? They about to flag us immediately. So in your expertise or opinion or knowledge or whatever, how much validity is that?
It's very valid. There are people who have come out, multiple people from Wolvicki to, I think it was our brother Noriega, who talked about a door that you can go through.
Right.
Choose to go through this door, go through that door. But if you go through that door, you know what comes with that. There are a lot of people who have exposed Hollywood, and each one of them who did, you don't hear about them as much anymore unless they pivoted, and made some kind of move to remain relevant. But it's very, very valid. Hollywood used to be called Hollywood Land. And it's named after the Holly Reef. Now you have to go back into ancient Rome. You're talking about the Roman Saturnalia and the festival of orgies and sex that they used to have. And they were sun worshipers, so they would dance around and have sex with everybody, random sex, and pushing the illusion and all that kind of stuff. So Hollywood is adopted from that mentality, that type of culture. So they brought that over here to the West, and of course, America gives Greece the credit for being the mother of Western culture, the mother of Western society. Athens, Greece. This is what America gives, say that's our mama. Okay, so everything that was over there in Greece, from the cathedrals all the way to the stadiums, to the same-sex behavior, to the animalistic sexual expressions, all of that was over there in Europe first. They brought it over here piece by piece. So to answer that question, yes, it's real. And every process to get involved in it is real. You have to compromise sexually. You have to compromise your integrity. You have to compromise your morals. You have to compromise your children, your money. You have to compromise everything. Depending on how high you want to go, you will have to give up more and more and more. It's very real. It does exist. Again, I'm from Compton.
Right.
So I'm right up the street from Hollywood. And I've seen some of these things. I've been invited to certain places as far as events and things like that. But when I get to these events, I see who is who. They don't come at me because, you belong to God. They like, all right, don't blow us up.
Because we see we have always heard about this, secret society and just the selling your soul concept. And we just, in our heads, be like, nah, they just, that can't, there's no way that's real. Like, you know what I mean? And then try to, even the house party movie, we was watching the house party movie, and they sprinkle that in there to kind of make it seem like they making fun of it, or they just want to make light of the situation. Mm-hmm. But, these stuff, obviously, like you said, it's a real thing in society.
Yeah,
like,
they have blood sacrifices. They have blood rituals. They have a number of these things, and more of it is coming out. So now you have to separate the theory from, the actual conspiracies, the real things that are going on. Mm-hmm. A lot of theories out there where people get real crazy and they start, because the number 2 is the number 2. You turn it sideways. I'm like, okay, hold on, bro. Hold on now. Okay, now you're speculating. All right. I need the facts. We don't do speculation, all that, because then that's never ending. Right. But the actual facts are Hollywood sincerely makes its money through perversion, through destroying morals, through the abuse of men, women, and children. There's a lot of sex trafficking, organ trafficking, child trafficking, all up and through Hollywood. This is well known. Exploitation of men, exploitation of women. This is very, very, very well known, especially in the modeling industry, especially in fashion, especially all throughout film. The difference now is people are becoming famous independently. You don't need Hollywood no more.
Right.
That's the beauty now. We don't need it no more. To become famous, to get likes and views, to make all this money and be seen all over the world, Hollywood is no longer needed. We got cameras now. We have microphones now. We have the ability to stream and put out our own narrative and picture and image. But that's the hub of it, I would say. So you got to talk about Hollywood, but then you have to also go back to ancient Greco-Roman culture. So you need to know about ancient Greece and Rome. Once you learn about that, then you can just put it on top of Hollywood and realize, everything that was over there is eventually going to be over here, and not just in Hollywood, but all of America. So yeah, that stuff does exist. Last point I'll mention is a lot of these parties, like when you talk about Jeffrey Epstein, you talk about Ellen DeGeneres and all these different people.
That Bohemian Road?
But Bohemian Grove.
Grove, there we go, yeah, okay.
I'll just let people know one thing to watch, for example, just so you can know how simple it is when they talk about it like we talking right now. Like every day, everything's cool. There was an interview that Ellen DeGeneres did with Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock, who was a star of Miss Congeniality and Heat and all the movies, right?
Yeah, definitely know.
She interviewed her, right? And Ellen said, tell the people what kind of facial you get, because they have different facials to make yourself look younger. She said, well, it's a facial where, they take the serum from, she was trying to be soft with it. Ellen said it's from foreskin of Korean babies.
I saw that.
And she calls it the penis facial, where they have the foreskin that's chopped off of Korean babies' penises. I'm sorry, y'all, you got to hear the truth. And they extract from that the cells and things like that, and they inject it into the faces of these women who are going to pay for it. Now, if you can flagrantly say that, and they was laughing, talking about, ha, 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 like, whoa, did you not just, hold on, hey, did y'all not hear what the hell this woman just said?
Yeah.
So you have, okay. So it's like, that's one piece. Then on the other side, you got to know the blood sacrifices, the blood rituals when it comes to children. The adrenochrome thing that people go into when it's a mixture of blood and adrenaline from scaring children and siphoning their blood, that there is truth to that. There is truth to that. A lot of these secret societies.
What was that called? It was like spirit cooking. It was like
spirit cooking. Yeah. I believe it's Brovovic or something like that. Is the white lady heavily in the film industry and fashion industry. This stuff is very real. Now, again, if you want to confront this evil, this is when you start getting into real topics on these shows, right? Where you start talking about things really affecting the world. You can't run from it. If you want to get involved in it, you got to go all the way. But don't try to, dip and dive into it. But again, this stuff is very real, bro. Right. It's a lot. Like I don't want to go too deep into it because it does exist, but you have to be willing to face it.
Right. The reason why it's hard to believe sometimes is because, like, who blatantly says you got baby, on, what I'm saying?
Look up that interview, Sandra Bullock, Ellen DeGeneres, and type in penis facial. It's going to blow your mind.
Even the fact that, people think it's UFOs out there, but they're calmly saying, oh yeah, it's true now.
It's a fact.
But it's hard to believe it because we've been saying it for so long, and now they're just agreeing with you like, oh yeah, they out there. Yeah. And then when they pop up walking on the road with you, you're like, oh shit, we did tell you. You know what I mean? So it's hard to believe stuff that but it's unbelievable to hear you actually say.
We've been desensitized with so many lies, bro, to where when we hear the truth, it sounds crazy.
Right, yeah.
That can't be true. But yeah, it is true. Because they've been putting the lies in front of our face so long in the books and TV and movies and cartoons.
Movies, definitely.
And they just been doing this to where when we finally see it, Now it's like, okay, hold on. So you mean to tell me this whole time it's a form of conditioning that we have to unlearn and reverse now? And
even if we record it, like right now, we can see a UFO. If I record it, people gonna say, "What the frick? That's fake. That can't be."
Yeah,
Come on,
that's
it's CGI.
CGI.
Come on, bro.
You know what I mean?
Because now we got so many ways to look at it different.
Yeah,
but, I mean, I've seen, well, we don't even call them UFOs. We call them wheels, how we're taught in the Nation of Islam. We know about this. Brother, you're talking about over 100 countries have already declassified the documentation, the evidence, videos, and photographs of quote-unquote UFOs long before the United States did. Now the United States last year started coming out heavily saying, yes, they do exist. Yeah, we had evidence for over 30, 40 years. Yeah, well, yeah, it's true, right? So, but the reason why America doesn't want to reveal that is because they don't want to give people any type of inkling or idea that there's a power that they can't control. They do not want you to have no thought in your head that anybody can overcome this government. And the reality is a power like that does exist.
Even I was watching Secret Invasion, is a Disney Marvel show, and they have these aliens called the Creed or the Skrulls, and what they do is they're reptilian like creatures who transform into looking like humans. You know what I mean? And I've heard plenty of stories about reptilians, these people that can transform, the aliens that can transform, that's taking the role of the higher powers in our society and controlling whether we want to. Like I said, that's a whole other we about to turn this into the Joe Rogan experience.
I'll just say I've never seen that before, the reptilian thing. Is it possible? Sure. Is it possible? Sure. But then again, hell, you have people with about 10 different personalities and they switch up and do things depending on who's in the room.
Right.
All right. So you can say that's a metaphorical version of it. But as far as the physical reptilian-like human beings, I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it. I've never experienced it. I don't go too far into the stuff that I don't know at all. Nah, I mean, the person who I believe pushed that thought or that idea long before the Bible, because if you're going biblically, then you look at the snake who whispered to Eve in the garden. Well, snakes don't talk.
Right.
All right.
You know what I mean?
So because now it's like, well, damn, snakes talk back then, but they don't talk now.
Right.
Isn't evolution supposed to take place, not de-evolution?
Right.
Whatever. So that's a whole nother conversation. But we are taught that, that was a person. And that's metaphorically dealing with people who we have in our lives that whisper things to us that are not right, not good, that are lies that will cause damage in our life. That's why we call them snakes. Okay, so that's another way of looking at it. But again, the reptilian stuff that David Icke, for the most part, is well known for pushing, that most of Europe just couldn't stand him for pushing. Caucasian white dude has been pushing this information long before Joe Rogan was born, before Alex Jones even. And I've been on Alex Jones' show InfoWars.
Right.
So you take the truth, and whatever else is too far, you're like, I can't touch that yet.
Right. I need more evidence.
Definitely. Definitely.
So you said in this day and age we don't need Hollywood anymore because we got cameras and microphones. So would you say that the people who were famous before we got to this point, they definitely a part of the Illuminati?
I'd definitely say a good percentage. I wouldn't doubt that a good percentage of them are. And then you have some who you have to look at exactly what they are pushing and what they're endorsing. Look at what people are supporting. Look at what they're endorsing. Look at what they're pushing. Look at it thoroughly. Okay. For example, you're pushing that it's okay for grown men wearing dresses to dance in front of children, half naked. All right. Which celebrities are supporting that? We can look at that, right? So you can say, yep, you. Then a small percentage of them may just be ignorant, right? Some of you are ignorant for sure. We can't get rid of that. That's a fact. Some are genuinely ignorant. Okay, cool. But then a good percentage of them are helping to push the machine that benefits and that talks about that situation, or the ones who are talking about putting men in dresses. And I mean, like, really putting us in dresses and always attacking family and always promoting anything that goes toward destroying children or removing morals piece by piece. You got to look at who these people are and then ask them, who the hell do you work for? See, again, ignorance goes to a certain point. You know damn well what's going on now in 2023 when it comes to certain things that we've been dealing with as people. You know what the hell's going on. So what's your excuse? Who do you work for? That's when you have to start asking that question. So yes, a good percentage of them for sure are a part of, you could say the Illuminati, you can say a part of different secret societies. A few of them are a part of it without even knowing.
Right.
That's another side of it, because it was so damn ignorant.
I know they used to say that for like black actors, especially if you wanted to make it, you had to do like a homosexual role at the beginning of your career.
The casting couch test is what they used to call it. And that was brought up by a lot of people. Eddie Murphy talked about it. Cat Williams talked about it. Whitney Houston talked about it. You had a lot of people, singers, actors, who talked about certain things that they had to go through. Tupac talked about it with Quincy Jones. You know, it's a lot of people who came out and said, I was offered this, but this came with it. They said I had to do this. I had to get on my knees, do this. I had to bend over, do this. This is real. It's very real. Paul Mooney mentions certain things like that. There's a lot of people who brought it out. Those clips are not well circulated. All right?
Definitely.
You know, but they do exist. A lot of these interviews. Will Smith talked about it years before he became, you know, blew up when he was still doing Fresh Prince and all that. He brought out certain things like, he was talking about, I think, what was it, AIDS, and how he said, you know, I believe AIDS is a government conspiracy. He said that. I believe that the interview was with Barbara Walters on 60 Minutes, I believe. That's what it was. So all this stuff is for sure, you know, it did exist to a higher degree, but again, now because you ain't got to go through Hollywood to get famous. You don't need to do things like that. But it definitely did exist, bro. That's a fact.
Right. So, you know, one of the things that I want to talk about is when I am starting to get more into this conscious mind and starting to just, you know, take in the information and just be able to judge myself, you know, I always revert back to, is everything black and white? You know what I mean? Because it's like, man, are they going this hard? Why are they going this hard for black people specifically? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, so when we talk about these systemics and things that's put into place to prevent black men or black women from, you know, rising up and being successful, I'm like, why is it just black people? That's the part where I am stuck at. Like, you know what I mean? Why? What is so special about black people that we are so targeted, even with the other ethnic groups that's here in America or just here globally? It's like there's an emphasis on black people globally. Like, what is your thoughts on that? You know, how do you explain that to somebody who has that question?
Angry children who disagree with their parents normally come back to do certain things that they couldn't do when they were smaller. So you have the son who was too small and he didn't like certain things his father said or whatnot. He grew up, came back, now he wants to beat up his father. Same thing with the young daughter, wants to come back and show her mama how she's better than her. Different things like that. The Caucasian race of people is the youngest on the planet. So again, that is what is called a pregnant question that you just gave me. Very pregnant, meaning that question has so much in it. We're not gonna be able to cover all of that in this episode, but I'm gonna do my best to give a nice summary of it. Caucasian white people are the youngest on the planet in the genetic line of humanity, even though they made it seem as though they were the first. And they talk about in the Bible, and they say we're the first. Knock it off, please. For the love of all this chocolate, stop it. All right? just stop it. But they tried their best to push that all over the world for years, that they were the first human beings. Okay. The reality is when they were casted out, we're going back into the Caucasian mountains, the Caucasus Mountains in Asia. That's hence the name Caucasian, all right, talking about the Caucasus Mountains. When they were crawling on all fours, which they were, when they had hair all over their bodies, which some of them still to this day do, and some of us because of the mixture and, you know, interracial relations up the line, when they were eating raw things crawling on the wall, which they did, when they did not know how to bury their dead, when they did not know how to cook, when they did not have any friend in that cave with them except for the dog, which is why to this very day they still say, dog is man's
best friend.
Say it again. Dog is man's
best friend.
We don't say that, right? God is man's best friend. Turn it around. So for them, that was their culture.
I didn't even peep that.
Oh yeah, y'all from New York, man. Peep the bars, bro. Not dog is man's best friend. God is.
Right.
But they pushed that because that was their friend. That was the only friend that they had in the cave. And this is not racism. This is just, you know, the actual facts. Your question is, why is it black and white? What is all this fascination with targeting black people all over the planet? The darker we are, the more we're hated. The darker we are, the more we're attacked. The darker we are, the more they want to emulate us and take everything from us. Okay, we are the original man and woman of the planet. Period, bar none. That is it. And you have the opposite spectrum of that. And this is not all white people. Of course, especially not our generation nowadays. A lot of them can't stand their parents and they really can't stand their grandparents. And they're trying to do their best to get away from what happened. But the reality is those people back then sincerely disliked the ancestry and what took place from the beginning. Those who know, the wise who know what took place back then. You're talking about white folks being kicked out of the Holy Land. You're talking about white folks being casted across the sands, the burning sands, where we removed their language and or not the language you gave, we left the language with them, but we removed certain things from them because of them causing mischief and the shedding of blood amongst the original people like they do today. You have people in between relationships whispering in each other's ear. Man, you know he said your shoes ugly. You know you messing with your wife, right? And we start fighting each other, trying to figure out how the hell did that really happen? Meanwhile, they're standing right back there on the corner smiling because that's the third party that you didn't look for. That's how it was back then. So again, I know I didn't go all over the place with, but there's too much history when it comes to that question. And all the way up to this very moment, the reality is it is a psychological thing that a lot of them deal with. And it's not all of them, but it's those in positions of power and authority over systems that they can use to impose this conditioning that we're dealing with. So using through the police, through the medical industry, through laws, all of this kind of stuff. Because it's like we keep getting affected systemically, not just individual people here or there. It's a whole system that is powered, that is oppressing us in different areas. The darker we are, it's all over the planet. It has infected the minds of the people all across the planet. White supremacy, that type of mentality. You have black folks today who are worse on some of our people than certain white people have ever been. You have a lot of black white supremacists, like Dave Chappelle said. You have a lot of our people who are affecting our people and trying to audition to be the new slave master. It's sick, but it came from a mindset that was in the very beginning, which is over 6,000 years ago. So again, that question, I wish we could do a whole episode on that, but just know it's much deeper than just, oh, I'm jealous of you because of your skin. You can stay out in the sun longer than I can. It's much deeper than that. All right. It's not so surface. It's a whole lot more that goes into that. And if you want to study more on the history of it, I recommend you start out by listening to Minister Farrakhan's lecture called The Origins of the White Man.
I also want to ask you, okay, since you touched on racism, and I believe that black people can't be racist because we didn't systematically did anything. So do you believe that as black people, should we become more prejudiced? And I don't know if I'm using the right prejudice in a certain way where we only look out for each other.
Every other group of people do.
I mean,
it's intelligent.
It's
intelligent. Okay, what you really want to ask is, should we be more racist? That's where he was going with it. Right? But he's like, but I don't know. Let me let y'all know something.
The right term.
But let's, so English isn't our first language, right? We're not English. We're not from England. Right? We don't look like none of them. So let's make this clear. If we use the language that they forced and imposed on us properly, don't get mad at us for using your language properly. Racist is demonstrating a degree of how much you love or do not love your race of people. So as the Honorable Mr. Farrakhan said, a pianist, right? A violinist. These are not people who are against things. These are people, this is describing to what degree or level that you have attained in this field. Playing the piano, a pianist, violinist, racist, literally. And it's like, wait a minute, damn, does that fit? Yeah, literally, yes. This is English, right? This is basic English. If you want to be a person who preserves his or her race more, which we're not a race because there's no beginning to us and there's no end. That's another thing I gotta, whatever. Well, for the lack of argument, let's just keep it on the basic, right? You are being wise and intelligent just like everybody else when you look out for your people first. You can't help him with his broken leg if you got one too. If you don't fix yours first, how you gonna help him with his? Your leg broke. What you look like hopping over there to help him with his broken leg? Brother, you bleed now. With how long you gonna be able to really help him? See, we have to be smart about this. Self-preservation is the law of survival, right? Self-preservation. A Chinese person will not be out here helping everybody else before he helps his or her own Chinese brethren or sister. Italians help Italians first. Mexicans help Mexicans first. I'm with all of that. Whites help whites first for the most part, as you should. And no one should get angry about that or with that. Our problem is we refuse to help ourselves first because we've been convinced and conditioned into believing that we're supposed to love everybody else before we love each other. And that is for the lack of any word that I choose to use other than stupid. Sincerely stupid. Your enemy's laughing at you every time you helping everybody else except for yourself. You are a dumb fool. Literally. Everybody else has their stuff together. How many schools? How many banks? How many grocery stores? How many transportation industries? How many, I would say, malls, if you want to go when it comes to shopping? How many airports? How many different systems do we have? We have a few of these things that I just mentioned. We do. We need a whole lot more. Yeah. We're not in the position to argue for somebody else's fight, somebody else's cause. We're not in that position. Not if we want to call ourselves intelligent people. We're not in a position. So we have to get back to loving ourselves first, which doesn't mean you hate anybody else. That's another thing. Black love does not equal white hate.
Right.
But you have a lot of them who try to throw that guilt trip on you. And it's like, excuse me, I don't like Becky. I don't want Becky. Leave Becky away from me. Thank you. Becky, go be with you.
With the prejudice word, people would use it as a form of hate, I guess, when they flip it.
You know what's interesting? When I hear people say hate, right? Because we're going, I already know where you're going with it. I know. I'm telling you now, when I hear people use the word hate went from evidence-based actions that took the lives of people. That's where it was first. Stuff that was done, physically done to take the lives of people. That's hatred, ending life. That's hate, right? You're talking about not just Adolf Hitler, but you're talking about Mao. You're talking about, I believe this individual's name is Leopold of Belgium, who exterminated over 12 million Congolese. That's hate. Right. You're talking about General Amherst over here who exterminated the natives because he said, aren't you Indians cold? Don't you need these blankets? Which had smallpox in them, right? This is, I want to help you, right? You're talking about all this insanity. That's hatred. That's hatred. How did hatred go from physical things that damage people, remove their livelihood, destroy their families, etc., to now, it's just a feeling that you have because of a word I used? That's hate because I said something you don't like. No, you sensitive as hell. Seriously, you need to get over yourself. And this is why when I get in a room full of white people, the reason why they respect your brother so much is because I don't come in there with the programming. I'm going to speak the truth regardless to whom or what. If you don't like it, that's you. I'm not going to be rude. I'm not going to be disrespectful, but I'm going to speak the truth. Now, if you don't like it, that's up to you. That's fine. But the truth has to be spoken or else you're going to continue to be a slave. They want black folks to be a slave. Shut up, be quiet. To this day, they want us to just not complain about anything, accept whatever we are given, accept horrible treatment, accept the fact that you niggas are still illiterate, still got alcoholism, still got drug issues, still locked up. Your women still have self-hatred. The men have self-hatred. The children out here getting these guns and sticking up people, shooting, robbing, doing all that. We have all these issues. And you tell me that you don't like the fact that I said that I want to be with a black woman and not a white woman. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here. No, seriously. You got to stand on it. And don't let them guilt trip you into something that you're not guilty of. Y'all get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you think that religion plays a part into that? Because, when I have these conversations, even with my mom, she's a Christian woman, and she is on some, she loves everybody type of situation. We should love everybody situation. So you think, does religion play a factor into that?
Shout out moms.
Yeah, I love moms. You know what I mean? Like,
let me go to the religion and not the people who subscribe to it.
Right.
Let's go to that. The white man during slavery on plantations said that you must love and obey your earthly master. But it wasn't the white man that just said it. It was the book that says it to this very day. I believe in the book of Peter, it says, slaves, obey your earthly masters. Respect them the same as you would respect Christ. That's in the book right now. In the book, it says slave masters or masters treat your slaves better if they are Christian versus those who are not. In the book, it talks about overly the fact that if you are a Christian, you should get some kind of benefit if you're a slave versus those who refuse to be a Christian. Never use Christianity or even Islam because the Arabs had a heavy slave circumstance that they were involved in when it came to enslaving African people. So religion absolutely has been involved and used as a battery to fuel this system of racism, classism, sexism, all of it. Religion has been behind a lot of it. That's the other difference. When you step into consciousness, awareness, and you start to learn history and science and mathematics, and you really look at things not from the label of religion or from the lens of religion, but from actual facts, now you can speak to people in a different way. You get what I'm saying? I have family who are Christian, family who are Muslim, family who are Mormon even, which is very interesting because the founders of the Mormon church, they were very racist. Heavily racist, didn't like black folk. So you got to look at all this, right?
Yeah.
But the last thing you need to be coming at me with is some damn whitewashed Christianity. Never. You talking about on Sundays, they would hang niggas after church.
Yeah.
After church, and they would sell tickets and say, we're going to have a hanging of a nigga today at a picnic.
That's great.
Tickets are on sale right outside. See Sister Martha, you can get a discount.
Right.
I'm so serious. This is how it was. So we have to learn our history. And that's the problem. Again, I called it out on both sides. I'm a Muslim.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not an Arab though. See, you gotta de-root.
Differentiate.
I'm not an Arab. I don't get it twisted. Right. You know, but we have to call out all of it. Because if people were involved in these things and they say it's because the book told me to, then we have to address the book and really look at it. And honestly, like really look at it. I'm talking about, is that what it is or is it not? And then we have to, dialogue and have a conversation about that. But yeah, brother, religion definitely has been used as the number one thing above everything else to enslave, rape, rob, and pillage.
So my issue with the book, right? They said that slaves weren't allowed to read and write.
Come on.
But they were allowed to read the Bible.
Come on, brother.
So
come on.
So
go ahead.
That's my issue with the Bible today. So I'm like, I just think that I can't trust something that they were just feeding you, and they talking about slavery in the Bible. Like, why would God be talking about slavery? Like
well, see, that's how you know that wasn't God right there.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
he's like, hold up, who stepped on that? Who added that in there?
That's what I'm trying to say. So it's like,
brother,
how much do you read and believe what you read in the Bible? Like,
well, we are taught, and you'll study it to see it is true, that the Bible was referred to as the poison book, not to anger anyone who was a Christian. Again, because, Nation of Islam, we study the Bible, Holy Quran, we study all sciences and all religions to learn. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we should seek to master the science of everything, study everything, right? The Bible, we are also taught, again, has been mixed and tampered with. Right? So you're talking about over 50 versions of this thing. Okay, the King James version.
Pages,
oh my gosh, brother. The King James version. Version. And version is different from translation.
Okay.
Like the Holy Quran, you'll see translation, meaning from one language into another. Version is one variation or type of kind of a thing. So I mean, you got the Douay version, you have the Bishop's version, you have the Cloverdale's version, the Tyndale version, you have the the Catholic's Bible, which has 6 additional books in it, versus the Mr. King James version, which didn't come into existence until 1611. Okay, so you have all the, and you're like, well, which one is the truth, right? Which one do I go with? And they're like, well, the original, the oldest one. Well, the oldest one right now, outside of those who can possibly read, Greek or Aramaic, because that's Sanskrit and all that. That's the old, if you want to go there. But the English one, that would be a Catholic Bible. That has additional 6 books in it. So it's like, don't say the King James version is the one. No, sir. Like, let's if you want to be a real Christian, which again, boy, so man, boy, I'm telling you, I used to get into heavy debates in religion, right?
Religion is.
I used to be a Christian slayer, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, like bad. I'm talking about
religion and politics is the 1-2 things that are very.
And I went to college for political science, and I dropped the college because I figured that out. I said, no, I can't do that.
But do you think lack of people belief in religion is the reason why people are having like such an issue with committing in relationships now?
Oh man, so y'all got some good questions, man.
Yeah.
No, it's no. Well, there's a mixture of things. One, it's the destruction of morality overall, the systemic, orchestrated, planned, targeted destruction of morality. Put up the women who are butt naked. Lots of money. Everybody love them. Likes and views. So it's psychologically that would translate to a child and say, oh, wow, all of those people like her and she's wearing that and she's dancing like that. So that's what I need to do. Most of us don't realize that's how the subconscious mind works. The mind operates along pictures. So children are looking at this and they're looking at the response. The response is good, overwhelmingly good. Well, I want that response. So that means I have to do this. That's how the mind works.
True.
And we want to run around talking about, well, I ain't no leader. Then go and dance in your mirror at home.
It's just like the young boys that's growing up and seeing the gangsters or the guys.
Vice versa. Like when I grew up in Compton, my brothers was gangbangers. What? Uncle used to be selling drugs. What? I was taught how to crip walk when I was 4 years old. Let's make this clear. I know how to crip walk before I learned how to pray. Because of the environment. So the relationships and all of that, destruction of morals, destruction of ethics, removal of men from the home, men with righteous principles, with masculinity, who want to do things proper, the destruction of women, the destruction of femininity, divine femininity in women, who want to care and nurture and be there with proper love and work in a balance with the divine masculinity of her man. That was destroyed and removed. All of these things, they removed. Boom, 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 boom. So now you got people up there who don't know who the hell they are. They don't know the history. They don't know the culture. They don't know who God is. They don't know who this enemy is. And they up there doing any and everything, male and female, and the people are looking up to them.
Right.
And they're learning it from them, not realizing, guess what? The majority of them have been placed there. And the agenda is being fed to them, and they out just, okay, where do I go? What camera? Okay, what I do here? Okay, boom, 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 boom. And so they're following the script. So again, we always have to go back to the enemy. Where is this coming from? Who's writing the script and who's doing it? Because I can't attack our sisters up there. We have to hold them accountable. Don't get it twisted. And I can't attack our brothers, but we have to hold them accountable. But we always have to go to the root of the thing. Because the majority of them don't have no damn clue of what the hell is really going on. That's why when I get the call from a lot of these artists and celebrities, brother, they don't know. They don't know history. I mean, the stuff, the conversations I've had to have, I've been so disappointed, but I couldn't judge, but I was just thinking like, damn, she really didn't know that. He really didn't know that. They really didn't know that. It gives you a different perspective because you got a bunch of grown children who are millionaires now because the enemy gave it to them to prop them up to control and manipulate the masses of the next 2 to 3 generations so that we can destroy ourselves. Yes, good. Yes. All right, good. So nobody's going to look at me back here. They're going to look at her and him. They're going to go at each other. Yes, that's what I want. Yes, that's what it is. It ain't just women who want to do this or want to be this. It ain't just men who want to do this or want to be this. Bro, when we have the proper man in the house, the proper woman in the house with morals and ethics and love for one another, love for God, whatever you call it, him, her, the family is different. The environment is different. Stuff comes out different. Y'all know how it is. It's different. But if you remove these things piece by piece, how you going to blame the victim all day? We can take responsibility, sure. But can we please get back to the real enemy or y'all tired now? You got all the smoke for each other because that's an easy target. But ain't nobody talking about this system. I don't like that. Stop going off about black men, black women because you haven't met all black men and black women. So we got to stop generalizing. Individualize it. This sister here, we don't like how she represented. Boom, boom, boom. Sister, please, out of love with your brothers, but what you're doing is messing with my daughter's mind. And my daughter came and showed me a video and she say she love it, but what you're wearing is messing. You know what I'm saying? Like, individualize it and tailor it to individuals. But if we start generalizing, and I'm in on this point, generalizations are the language of the ignorant. Because rather than you using your knowledge and the ability to reason and critically think, you just throw a blanket over everybody because you don't have that much knowledge in your head to break it down. You ain't trying to waste that much time. It's hurting your brain to really go into specifics. And so you generalize all women, y'all men. We haven't met all of one another. So we literally, intellectually, logically, or factually, we can't talk about all of us because we ain't met all of us. You get what I'm saying?
So there's 2 things that, I'm just going with the flow of the conversation. So I do want to get to talking about this attack on masculinity that's going on, right? You know what I mean?
Come on, bro.
And I also do want you to break down, because I've had several conversations with different people about how black men were taken out of the home and how that whole concept goes. So let's start with the attack on masculinity. What's your thoughts on that going on in today's?
It exists. It's real. And you always destroy the security soldier base. The defense you remove when you want to go in and take control of a society. You remove the security, you remove those who are going to be able to stand up, defend, fight back, prevent you from going in and taking control of the minds and the bodies of men, women, and children. That's how a military maneuver is done. So you always find the weak points. You find the soldier falling asleep. This goes back to biblical days. The ones who fell asleep on Jesus, the ones who fell asleep on Prophet Muhammad, the ones who fell asleep. It's always the ones who don't have that discipline all the way down, who are not dedicated to the mission, who don't really see or even believe that evil exists. You got some people today who are like, oh my God, here you go talking that stuff. And it's like, you want to slap somebody because like you might want to wake the hell up to realize that this system is not dead. It is very much alive. If you don't wake the hell up to realize that, then guess what? It's going to perpetuate and it's going to get worse. Just because you ain't seeing all the evil in front of your face doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Right.
So the removal of the man had to happen because in every single war, you must remove the soldier defense base. Are there women who can protect themselves? Sure, but they shouldn't have to. You're too valuable. We cannot carry a child. The nation doesn't come from the man, it comes from the woman. We carry the seed, no doubt, but where is it housed? The workshop of God is in the womb of the woman. So that means she is so much more valuable that she has to be protected. That womb got to be protected because the future of our existence is in her. Now, if that don't make you say, you know what, hold up, I need to take this a little more serious. She may be a little difficult to deal with every now and then. I get it, but this is the future of our existence as a people, bro. You will never convince a Chinese man to attack his own women and generalize their own women. They will look at you like you're crazy because they know what it feels like to have a military move conducted on them. And aware of it and refuse to let it happen again. The Jews say never again. Why are we not saying never again? We're participating in our own destruction. So again, they had to remove the man from the home, remove the man from the culture, remove the man from God. Because if you fear God, you're not going to bow down to no system like this. There is no such thing as a system that can break me because I have a relationship with God. Every one of us that we get that connection to God, whatever you want to call it, him, her, the universe, whatever makes you comfortable, cool. But get that so that your fear can be removed from you so that you can stand up and change the condition. Because this system, again, is benefiting from us not having our stuff together on a defensive. That's my main thing that I'm looking at. And again, you should really take note of what happens in other societies. Our sisters get attacked, we not fighting back. What are we doing?
Yeah.
No, seriously, bro.
Yeah.
Your black woman getting attacked and you recording in 4K. You're not using your 4 limbs, so your 6, these elbows, these fists, these knees, and these feet, but you're recording it. Look, y'all can't believe this, man.
World star, like,
well, man,
like,
come on.
Yeah, nah, that's a fact. Yeah.
And then you want other people to respect us?
Yeah,
I'm not respecting nobody who disrespects themselves. I can't respect you as a people. Look at you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Again, and mind you, the enemy helped us to get to this condition. That's a fact. But now we are perpetuating it.
Right.
That's my only, now we got to hand it. I can't just point at the white man no more. I can't just point at the system. We are smart enough to know.
True.
We know this, bro. Like, we know this.
Right.
You can't let somebody walk up in here and just do whatever they want to do. It can't be like that. But if enough videos go out where that happens and we don't do nothing about it, you know what that does to the mind? It lets the enemy know, oh, they don't give a damn about themselves. They don't care about their women. They don't care about their children. Why is it that I went to Texas a couple weeks ago when I spoke at an event, and then the week before that I was in a documentary premiere? Bro, I got at least 12 Amber Alerts in one day in Dallas, Texas.
That's crazy.
What the hell is going on? No, I mean, like, really?
Yeah.
I don't have no children yet. How do you not feel this? I don't understand. I don't get this. How do you allow your children to be just kidnapped and abducted and nobody does nothing? Because they don't have enough examples of people being checked for kidnapping children, checked for abusing women. You see enough videos of that going up, it's going to stop happening.
Yeah.
No, I mean, really, it's going to stop happening.
When you say it's a difference, like hypothetically, if a Asian person, something happened in New York, if it go back all the way to, they willing to come over here and shut you down.
That's fact.
It's a difference for, we tend to ignore or put the camera up, which is still stupid. I'm not, but we don't have that big force that's saying, hey, if you fuck with our people, something's gonna happen. You get what I'm saying? So we're on our own. We're on this island on our own.
Yeah, you're referring to a nation, state, a country to come in to back us up. And I hear you on that. I definitely hear you on that, because that is a part of, again, the situation dealing with slavery and the removal of our name, our language, our culture, our religion, our history, it cutting us off. It definitely deals with that. However, some of y'all from Brooklyn, right, and other parts of New York, you know who gonna get active if something goes down. The problem is we get active for the wrong reasons.
True.
For the wrong things. We get active because of something that's not as important, but we made it more important than the security of our people. I can be honest and tell you this. If somebody were to bust in this room right now, I'm not going to say, why the hell ain't Ghana coming and helping us?
Right.
Why Nigeria ain't helping to shut this damn stuff down? How many black folks live in Brooklyn?
A lot.
You know what I'm saying? How many? First of all, you have boroughs for you to be able to say that. Okay, these are like colonies, right, of chunks of black folk. All going through the same stuff, maybe worse over here, Yonkers, maybe have a little something different than, Staten Island, okay, whatever.
We too busy fighting amongst ourselves.
Come on, man.
If you want to be...
We got the manpower. We lack the organization and the love for one another because of situations we've all been in. Like you were talking about the trauma. This trauma that we have is so thick. It clouds our ability to be in present time. Too many of us are stuck mentally in the argument we had with our wife, argument we had with our baby moms, argument we had with this situation we had with the police over here, situation we had over here. We lost our money, lost a job. We're stuck in the past mentally, so we can't focus present time and handle situations because we're so stuck. We don't eat the proper food, so our nutrition is causing our mental to be way off. We on edge all the time. We around bricks. We don't get around nature no more. That's why the Midwest, y'all some of the toughest folk. Because y'all pissed off all the time. Like, you're around a lot of this. They boxing you in, right? The bricks boxing you in. And in the projects, that's why it's called a project. Because they're experimenting to see how animalistic can they make you to where you eat each other. It's a controlled circumstance. And it happens in Compton, it happens in Watts, it happens in Long Beach, it happens in Philly, it happens over here. It's the same thing. We have to break out of that.
What do you expect when you got damn near 1,000 people in one building?
Come on, man.
Ain't no room to breathe.
Right on top of each other.
It's nothing but eruption.
I think we gotta, like you said too, we have to get back to community. We got to get back to the nuclear family.
Come on, man.
Because, speaking on the trauma, there's been instances in New York, you know what I mean, where a black man has stepped in to protect a woman and he lost his life or he ended up in the hospital because she said, oh, mind your business. Like, so there is that fear of, man, I don't know this woman, but if I step in, there could be harm to myself. Like, this is not a woman. This is not my family. This is not my sister, my cousin. Like, you know what I mean? So we do got to get back to community and back to the nuclear families.
Let me respond to that because that definitely does happen, but that happens in the minority. The majority of situations are brothers standing up, sisters standing up for each other, brothers standing up for sisters standing up for brothers, elders, grandparents, a lot of them standing up for each other. Okay, and situations are being handled and resolved. Those videos are not posted enough.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
The problem is we keep watching ourselves losing on the internet. Psychologically, I'm programmed to believe that if I do the right thing, I'm going to lose. I mean, I know that sister, but she probably thinking I'm trying to get at her, I'm trying to do this. No, I really just saw this dude smack you. I don't know what the situation is, but clearly he didn't have to do that to you. I just wanted to make sure you was okay. And she may be turning up because, again, where she is mentally. And vice versa. Same thing with us as brothers. Sometimes we want to help each other, but we don't know. Dude gonna try to come at me like, bro, the energy is from him. He smacked you. What you way? And he been, no, you with him. I know you with him. It's a lot of issues that we deal with, and we have to be wise with it, of course. Be smart. Don't just run out there and Black Superman. Superman was black anyway.
I heard you.
Right? But so we have to be wise about it. But I know for a fact if we promote more of us winning, more of us standing up, doing what's right, and us surviving after, and us actually coming together and some conflict resolution was handled and we resolved some issues, more of those videos going up will inspire more of us to get involved in it.
Right. You know why I don't see that happen so easily? Only because I remember growing up in a community where you knew your neighbor's name. Or if you was doing some fucked up shit, Miss Jenkins, Miss Johnson is going to call you
down
out
here
and yank your ass up. Now it's to the point, I mean, I don't know if it's because, we're having a lot of teenage parents where the narrative is switched where you got to mind your fucking business or that's my motherfucking kid. You hear a lot of that. But we don't know our neighbor's name. I mean, I didn't live on the same blocks. Everybody got to stay in their section. And I do think that we need to get back to the point where the community we're helping raising each other's child.
Yes. And I man, that's beautifully said, bro. Because again, we take out our trauma from certain situations out on everybody else. If I had an issue with this person here, y'all are not her. And I have to realize that. If I had a situation with this brother over here, y'all are not him. And I have to realize that, admit it, and stand up and say, hold on, man. I love my people, bro. My people didn't do this to me. Certain individuals did. We gotta separate it. That way it will help us to go next door Hey, I'm over here if y'all need this or that. I may not be able to do too much, but if you need this, I got you. All right, just want to let you know. Y'all got the children right there. I don't mind watching them outside if they playing for an hour. If you got to go, I get it. I'm here. That stuff has to come back into the picture. We have a lot of issues going on in our community. We have a lot of rape, molestation. We have all that going on. We have a lot of things we can't trust. We got people taking money from people. We got people robbing people. We got all that stuff happening. But then again, we got a lot of it that's not.
Right. That's true.
You got a lot of people there's people you can trust. You can name at least one or two people in your life that you can trust, or a brother or a sister. You're like, I know I can trust this person. Okay, so if that exists, then clearly more must exist. True. We just have to promote that idea a lot more and stop making it seem as though it's so difficult. It takes work, but it's not as difficult as we make it out to seem. We just want this fast food version, like you were saying. We want it fast and quick. Bro, it took years for them to break us. It's gonna take years for us to repair. Right. But if we put that foot forward, we start doing it, man. Trust me, you'll see it, because I'm watching some artists now who are coming out saying, look, I ain't even interested in blah, blah, blah right now. I'm not interested in pushing that nonsense that y'all pushing. I ain't trying to be like that. See, so we're breaking out of this stuff. Yeah. We're breaking out of it. We just have to promote that more, put that image up, because the image is what controls the narrative. It controls the behavior. Put more of those images up, and I guarantee you, bro, it's going to change the condition.
So how do we do that when we're not controlling the media, though? Because, I mean, I say that it's not going to happen this generation. They got to happen through the children. But what they're pushing to the children is so negative.
They're already programming them. Yeah.
That's a good... Here's, again, the beauty of this now is, with what we're doing here,
right?
Y'all get more views. I want you to know something, right? Yeah. The analytics for Fox, CNN, CBS, their numbers are way down. Their numbers are garbage compared to the average videos on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, things like that. Right. People are getting more views from their podcasts and shows like this than CNN is getting for the entire week. Just want y'all to know. They know where the power of the media is now. That's why all of the mainstream media channels say, if you like that video, follow us on Twitter. What they just told you. We're getting more eyes on our social media than the mainstream now. Right. Which means we control this. Y'all control this. We control this. Have more belief in realizing that no. They don't have the power like they used to no more. It's just a programming system that has been going so long that is well-oiled, it's strategic, it's sharp, it's on point, but it's losing power because more people are waking up because of platforms like this and because of the way we're getting this message out. The children being targeted, like they're pushing the homosexual thing onto children on Sesame Street. Yeah. Now you can't say it's not an agenda. Don't you dare.
Is it in schools too?
What the hell is Gonzo? The Muppets, because the Sesame Street and the Muppets. Gonzo, recently, the cartoon from the Muppets. This dude, he said, I swear that was like, oh, they ain't got the damn Muppets. How y'all go back to the Muppets? Okay. He said, well, I'm actually a girl. And he said, I just didn't know what you guys would say about it. And they were like, oh, we love you. How you are, Gonzo?
No fucking way.
Bro.
And it ain't Bert
Ernie?
Yeah.
That's the
like,
bro.
They wasn't brothers.
Now they coming out with that. Now they coming out saying Velma from Scooby-Doo was a lesbian.
They saying Robin from Batman is...
Bro, since when? Yeah. We talking about the Cape Crusaders and fighting evil. What the hell? Batman ain't never talked about sex, and what are you doing?
It was good and evil. Like, that's
all it was, bro. Like, we knew the superhero and the villain. Yeah. That's all we knew. But now they're injecting this, which the sad thing is now, right? Well, no, not sad. It's sad for them, good for us. Satan is on an onslaught so strong that he forgot that some people are going to wake up. And enough people with certain levels of platforms are waking up. So now, like platforms like this, you're getting this message out, waking people up, exposing this stuff, which is multiplying with other people watching it, and it's making them look at it and say, oh, damn, I didn't know that. Wait a minute. So now that good part of them is kicking back against that evil side. And they're like, I ain't with that. All right. You know what wakes people up? When you go after the children. That's what wakes people up more than anything else now. Yeah. So now that they seeing that, they're like, hold up, whoa, I wanted to live my life doing this over here, but hold on. Now you come from my baby now. What the hell wrong with you? Y'all tripping. Yeah. See, now that morality is popping back in. Now that God side of yourself is like, hold on. All right, you know what? Let me slow down because maybe I helped y'all to think that I was cool with this, but I'm not cool with this. And that's happening all over the place.
It's like no disrespect to them, but now it's like
Most of them are not with it.
It's going into the school.
Come on, bro.
I mean, from pre-K, you know, they're getting I'm even seeing stuff where birthday parties have the drag thing going on, and I don't know if it's a touchy subject or anything like that, but it's
no, we're gonna touch it already.
He said, you know
it's a tough.
I mean, but I'm concerned. I'm a father, and you know what I'm saying.
I mean, we concerned too, and we hope to be fathers. Know what I mean, and I mean, we gotta stop at some point. Like, you gotta stop.
Man.
I mean,
well, y'all want me to? All right. So okay, look,
take it away.
All right. I had an interview on my podcast called the Intellectual Extremist Podcast. Since they wanted to call me an extremist, I said, no, I'm not an extremist. But if you want to call me that, I'm an intellectual extremist. Fine, we'll go there. That's the name of the podcast, RizzaIslam.com. So Flame Monroe, y'all know who Flame Monroe is?
Yeah.
All right, comedian. I call him my brother. He calls me his brother. That should tell you right there to start off, right? Flame has been a trans for over 30 years.
right.
He was doing this long before there was any social media, long before it was a trend, because a lot of people right now are involved in it as a trend. Let's make that very clear, especially the majority in our generation. It's like, bro, please, please. All right, just sit down for a second. He went off on every single thing that we agree with, and he said, I agree. Same thing. I don't agree with no woman or a man going to the restroom with my daughter. I don't agree with women competing against men in sports. Why would a man want to compete against a woman in sports? Nigga, you a coward. What's wrong with you? I mean, like he went off on all these. He was, I mean, that damn Caitlyn Jenner, Bruce, that bastard is his fault. Like he just was going in on all this while being a trans himself.
Right.
Talking about the breast augmented and all that, and he was like, I am not with none of this. He said, this is stuff that's being pushed now in this generation. This ain't got nothing to do with what we fought for. He said back then. We didn't fight for none of this. We didn't fight for y'all to be pushing this around children, onto women, the same restrooms. What are you talking about? It had nothing to do with none of that. I just wanted to live my life as a human being in this way. That's what he said. Right now, fast forward on this point, the ultimate agenda that we are looking at, that this enemy is pushing, is depopulation. We have to get this through our mind. That way we can remove the emotion from it. Take the emotion out of it, look at it for what the purpose is. Just be logical about this. What type of government would encourage men being with men, women being with women, and remove the ability to procreate? What kind of government would inspire such a thought? Now, before anyone says, well, people who are same-sex can still procreate. No, you can't. I'm talking about you cannot have sex and have a child. Right. Knock it off. I'm not talking about artificial insemination. I'm not talking about any of that. No. I'm talking about literally a woman cannot get another woman pregnant. A man cannot get a man pregnant. A man does not have a womb. Let's knock it off. Let's be serious about this. True. What kind of government would encourage such a thing? A government that wants to get rid of you, but wants to get rid of you in a way where you will accept it and where you will volunteer to do it yourself. They don't want these people on the planet no more. These people, I'm talking about 3 to 4 billion human beings on the planet. They don't want. According to the National Security Study Memorandum 200 under Dr. Henry Kissinger, the 32nd Secretary of State under President Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford, he stated, quote, depopulation should be the highest priority of U.S. foreign policy towards the third world, end quote. But they had 13 foreign countries that they listed and said, these are the countries that we are going to push for our same-sex policy adoption, same-sex ideology, same-sex everything. And they pushed it on all of those countries, and then they started pushing it here domestically as well. They want to get rid of over 3 to 4 billion human beings on the planet. Y'all gotta, that's really what the foundation of this thing is. But too many people are caught up in the emotion of it. Well, I want to do this.
Overpopulation thing? Because from when I hear about stuff like that, a lot of people say like the world's population can fit in Texas alone.
That
you know what I
is
mean?
A fact.
So how is there overpopulation in that sense?
It's a lie. It's a lie. Well, then they'll say resources, right? Because you have roughly 29 million useful square miles on the planet, right? 29 million square miles of useful land. Okay. If the majority of people can fit in Texas, the majority of people on the planet, literally, we're talking about the roughly 8 billion human beings in Texas. And if you ever driven through Texas, you know that's not too crazy to believe, all right? Because you've been through this, a bunch of open land, right? Then the question becomes, wait a minute, so are we really overpopulated? Because Hillary Clinton was saying overpopulation. Henry Kissinger, overpopulation. President Jimmy Carter with Global 2000, overpopulation. It was a lie. a damn lie. And they knew it was a lie, but they wanted to push that and then get the people to be programmed to believing it so that the people can push it on each other, attack each other. Same thing they did with shots, boom, boom, boom. They start going in on each other.
Yep.
Oh, bro. And then that's when you get everything from abortion to vasectomies to everything to prevent you from procreating. You sound crazy. You don't want your existence to live on? Mm-hmm. And you think that's a benefit to that? Mm. Who put that thought in your head and why? They want to get rid of the majority of people. Why at this point? Because the majority of people are no longer being controlled. This social media platform was a gift and a curse for both the people and the government. The government created it and established it so that they could spy on the people for the vast majority. You're talking about way back before MySpace with something called 6 Degrees. You're talking about way back then where they were using social media, to let you get around people and start to find who was who and all that, and photo bucket. So we had to put our photos on and upload MySpace. See, Tom ain't never did this, dude.
Right.
Yeah. I remember Tom. Okay, right. So MySpace. And I think MySpace
really tracking your data like that, or were they?
They weren't nowhere near
not
until after 9/11, 2001. And that's actually in chapter 2 of my book where I break down all of that. The history of the social media platforms, which policies in the Patriot Act, you name it all the way down, right after 9/11, how they started to infiltrate, how they started to, sneak peek search and all that kind of stuff, bro. Yeah. But again, depopulation is the goal. That's what we have to look at. So when you're looking at the trans thing, you're looking at the drag stuff, all that, you're dealing with a lot of people, which again, by the way, man, it's a lot that goes into this topic. You have a group called Gays Against Groomers. All right. This is a group that has over 20 locations in the United States. These are all people who are either gay, lesbian, bisexual, who are fighting against what this government is pushing. Using the LGBT. Right. They ain't with none of it. They're like, we ain't with none of this stuff that y'all pushing. We ain't with the restroom stuff. What the hell are you doing being half naked around children? What's wrong with you? You a pedophile. You got these gay folks calling out just pedophiles. Because the pedophiles are using the gay movement like they did way back then.
They could be lying. We don't know. They just walking in the dressing room.
Come on, bro.
Dropping their drawers in front of young ladies.
Bro. Come on. Bro, do you remember
which jails they want to go into now? Like, picking and choose,
bro, you have men. Over 250 men who call themselves women who are currently in jail have petitioned to be transferred to women's prisons. You have a number of them that so far they have been successful at it.
Hell yeah.
Now they're trying to figure out how these female inmates are getting pregnant. Come on. Come on. Let's just, it's sick, it's nasty, it's disgusting, knock it off. It's just stop, right? And again, we got to go back to the enemy. Because if you get caught up looking at the people, then you're going to be too busy arguing and fighting the people. And rightfully so to a degree. Like some people, you got to be like, Pops, sit down. All right, what you doing? Chill out. You can't be around my baby. Nope, not my child. Go over there.
Right.
Okay, so like some people have to get that hard love, boom. But the enemy is always the one puppeteering and controlling it. Satan is doing his job. Right. So if we don't have the smoke for the system, I never thought I would see the day where the White House would have the LGBT flag hanging with the trans flag and all the other stuff, the child predator flag, all that from the actual Capitol, right there in front of the White House. It's just 2-3 weeks ago. I mean, like...
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
What? Oh, man. Y'all make sure you put that up on the screen. Brother, I'm telling you now, when that happened, do you know the world is watching us? Do y'all know, you know the world is watching America, right?
Yeah. They talking shit, too.
Oh, man. They looking because, America has been the bully of the world for years, been the bully, using her military might to oppress and suppress. You're talking about over 700 military bases that are currently occupying different nations all over the world. And they're looking like, you're men or women, huh? I'm telling you, hey, look, I'm telling you right now, y'all got to look at it from a military type of perspective. You're looking at these foreign nations who've been waiting for some get back. You invaded my nation. You killed my women, my children. You bombed us for no reason. Literally, 20 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So all your men now, they women, huh? No, just, right? Okay, all right, so they women. Oh, so you're pushing not to make your men stronger, but to now say, hey, you can be a woman if you want, boom, boom. Okay, so we're pushing the gay stuff, okay. The number one priority is LGBT rights. Okay, cool. Like I'm telling you, they're looking and they are fortifying. They exercising. They're working out hard. They're training because they're waiting for that point where they are able to then become the big dog themselves. You're talking about China. Do you know about BRICS?
Yeah.
Please, okay, they're not. These nations are not playing.
Yeah.
They're not playing. And they said, oh, wow, America, your priority is to have men chop off their penises and testicles. Wow. Good. Keep going.
Right.
Keep going. Right? I'm so serious. I'm looking like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm cool with my masculinity. I'm gonna keep working out and exercising because now it's a war type of environment and atmosphere that's brewing. So while everybody's pushing, sex this and trans this and blah, 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 emotion, I feel like this and all that insanity, other nations is looking like y'all crazy. So we about to go ahead and get ready, right? To be the big dog now. And I know, again, we went around a lot in this topic, but there is a lot in it. Last point I'm gonna mention real quick before you delve into another side of this. Uganda passed a law where they said if you identify as LGBTQ and all that, you going to jail.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of folks, that I've spoken to, a part of that community was like, man, Rizza, that's wrong. See what I'm saying? It's like, that's Africa.
Right. And then Kamala tried to come over there and try to regulate and try to
Oh my God. Embarrassment.
Yeah.
She went over there with her Timberland boots on. Embarrassment.
Yeah.
You are okay. Anyway, Kamala's a whole other. Her name was on the paperwork when I went to jail.
Oh yeah.
Oh, please. Anyway, but that's not why I'm saying that. But you're not going to go into the historical target of your colonizing ancestors to try to recolonize in a modern time, but dress it up as democracy. Why aren't you accepting the same sex? And they're like, what the hell is wrong with you? They're looking at you like, are you sick? You do know your grandparents did that already. They came and forced homosexuality on us. They came and forced us to accept Jesus Christ when the J didn't even exist until the 1600s in the language, but another topic. You forced all that on us. You doing it again? Do you not read history? Like, they pissed. They're like, who? I mean, not only is it disrespectful, but you don't realize you're trying to get them to accept an ideology that ends with no procreation. So you want me to kill myself. This is what they're saying. You want me to kill myself, but you call it love? No, love is a procreative idea. Love doesn't mean life stops. That's not love. That's hate. So you want me to endorse hatred. Now, again, a lot of people in LGBT, we love y'all, so don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
We love y'all. Y'all family. I got family who was a part of that, but they agree. They like, we ain't with all that. That's how you need to separate the difference. Is it the LGBT pushing it, or is the government pushing it through the LGBT? Right. And that's where people have to look at this whole situation. Because the majority of people in LGBT ain't with none of this stuff. For the vast majority. All these pride parades was a bunch of naked, old, nasty white men. For the majority. Butt naked, running around children. Y'all, I don't know if y'all had some in New York. I would assume you did.
Probably.
I'm just saying that. I wasn't out of none of them, right? But I'm saying on the internet, it was showing, it was like every single one of them, city by city, state by state. Majority. Old naked white men. Why? Because that is their culture. You can get mad if you're white and you man watching this, but that's your culture. Learn your history. Seriously, learn your history. Learn about pederasty, what you call pedophilia now.
Right.
It's the ancient Greco-Roman art of man-boy loving called pederasty. That came from Europe. And they brought it over here. See, again, it's a lot of...
It gets deep.
It gets deep, bro.